Huh? Good evening. Today is Tuesday, August 18th, 2026. The time is 7:35. We now call to order the town of Eatonville Town Council meeting. This case is still by form. Yes, Councilman Mack. Here. Councilwoman Jordan. Here. Vice Mayor Thomas. Here. And Councilwoman Randolph is currently not present, and Mayor Pretty. Present. We have our form. We are now ready for a moment of silence and a pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We are now ready for the approval of the agenda. In a motion and a second, all in favor, please signify with aye. Aye. All opposed? The agenda has been approved. We are now ready for presentations and recognition. I'll go to the podium. Tonight is a exciting night. We get to honor our recipients for the 2026 Winnie Mountain Scholarship Program. But before we go further, I would like to ask that the reviewing committee, if you're here to join me up here at the lectern, that will be Councilwoman Jordan, Attorney Bruce Mount, Ms. Gloria Ford. Thank you so much. So we had 5 students that are awarded the 2026 Bruce and Winnie Mount scholarship, but I would love an opportunity for Mr. Mount to share a couple of words along with our Councilwoman Jordan.
Good evening. As you said, I'm Attorney Bruce Mount Jr. It's always an honor to be before you on behalf of my late parents, Bruce and Winnie Mount. I just want to congratulate all of the recipients. As everyone knows, education was very important to my family, and so was community service. In fact, my sister worked at home today, so that's why she's not here. But she was trying to raise over, so she can benefit as well. But again, on behalf of my entire family and my brother who was trying to raise over as well, my late parents, we are so incredibly proud. One, thankful for the town, continuing to keep that legacy alive. But to you guys, the next generation, if anything that you need from us, please let us. It just warmed my heart to see the names of folks who maybe feel a little bit old. To see some of the kids of my classmates, a lot going up to highest ever here. All right. But again, I would like to say, take that pride. ATA said, wherever I go, let folks know the gold is black, it's time here, it's still time to eat, Well, I implore you to do the same. Yeah, our family says, keep our thirst and go to open up. On behalf of the Mount family, congratulations.
Good evening, everyone, and I'm so happy to see you guys come out for this monumental time. Thank you, Bruce Jr., and also to your parents for giving us this opportunity to give this to our. That's all. Hey, that's what's up. But anyway, thank you guys so much to the recipients of this fantastic award. I'm gonna tell you, education is dear to my heart. I was raised by a preacher and a teacher. Okay, a preacher and a teacher, so education is the key, guys. Please don't ever think that it is not. I'm so proud of you all, for doing the work, right? First of all, doing the work and getting this application completed. It was not a simple task, and this I do know. And I'd like to thank your parents as well for making sure that you didn't miss out on this opportunity. And coming from the, Bruce and Winnie Mount, and just from Eatonville, y'all, 1887 strong. Y'all know I feel it in my heart and in my soul. And with that, I pass on the love and the fortitude for you guys to go forward and be great. And what you learn back out there in the world, please bring that home. We need you all. You all are our future leaders. Right here, y'all, come home and give back. As I've had the opportunity to do, I've been all across the world due to my education, y'all. It does matter. Please take advantage. Do not hesitate. If you get out there and you need something, I'm available. I know the mounts are, the council. Please reach out. Best of luck to each and every one of you all. Thank you.
As they remain up here with me, we'll have an opportunity to photo ops with the council as well as with other members, of staff and other also contributor to, the award that you're gonna be receiving today. Just a little bit about the, Bruce and Winnie Mount Scholarship Program in honor of the former and deceased Mayor Bruce Mount and his wife, Winnie Mount. The Bruce and Winnie Mount Scholarship Program was established to encourage and support new high school graduates, first-year college students, which are freshmen, second-year college students, sophomores, as they enter into the next phase of their academic experience beyond high school. The application opened and was available April the 13th, and the deadline to submit completed applications ended on July the 31st, 2026 at 11:59 p.m. The Bruce and Winnie Mount Scholarship Review Committee, our responsibility was to review all those applications on and before the application deadline, ensuring that all guidelines for eligibility were met. And we're happy to say that 5 of our youth in our community are recipients of the 2026 Bruce and Winnie Mount Scholarship. Let's give them. Many of the requirements was they had to be a resident of the town of Eatonville, be a current senior in high school or an active college student within 2 years of high school graduation. Minimum unweighted grade point average of 2.5 and with an official transcript and proof of graduation. They had to have graduated within 12 months of the scholarship date. Acceptance to an accredited trade, technical school, or 2 or 4 year college or university with a confirmation letter. They also had to complete an essay of a minimum of 200 words, and complete 30 hours of community service at a nonprofit organization in the town of Eatonville or outside of Eatonville, as that might be made by our review committee. So with that being said, we want to go ahead and start acknowledging our recipients and what they will be receiving. If you want to share. They're going to receive the percentage of award that is consistent with whether they are a high school or a college graduate attendee. They will also receive a signed piece of art that was provided to us by a local artist, and his name is Davion Solon, and he is here. I would like for him to stand. He wanted to participate in this. Thank you. He came to us. We did not have to go looking for him. And he put together these wonderful, art pieces that represent graduation. So we have one for the male as well as for the female. So each recipient will receive their award check along with their that put in their dorm, in their college room. And then also our very own chief, he is providing a steel coin. If you would like to stand, he wanted to contribute as well. So the coin represents professionalism, honor, and integrity. So we know that this is foundational to the Eatonville Police Department. It can be foundational on your journey, your education. So at this time, if you are present, or if you have a representative, please come forward as your name is called. And do pardon me if I mispronounce your name, charge my head and not my heart. Zakiria Edie, if you are here or if a representative is here, please come forward. We're so glad to honor her with the 2026 Bruce and Winnie Mount Scholarship Program. There is a presentation check that we want to present to you as well. Give her a hand clap again. And Zakiria Edie, she graduated high school with a 3.65 GPA. And at this time, we would like her to come in here, take a picture with the council, as the council will come forward, along with the review committee. And Mr. Sullivan, if you could join us as well as Chief, if you could join us for this photo op. Beautiful. Someone asked me that they would be attending. I don't have that information, but it is public record. Our next one is Raylan Daniel. She is a second year recipient and her GPA is 3.14. So we definitely are proud of her and we want to make sure that we get a picture with her as well.
Thank you.
Our next one is Ryan Porter, and you are here. There. All right, and he is a high school graduate with a 2.5 GPA. Yeah. You get to take that. All right. Our next recipient is Sol Williams. If you are present or if you have a representative with you tonight, please come forward. Sol Williams. If not, we'll give him an opportunity to seated at the next council meeting. So let's give him a hand. And then our last recipient is Koran Victor. Graduate with a 3.26 GPA. I like the handshake.
And where's the y'all? Oh, and where's it going? Oh. Right. Yeah.
All right.
I didn't know that was up to my time, but you all have challenged me that next year, I will make sure that I have the information that I, and so that you'll know where they're coming from and where they're going, but thank you for this time. I yield it back to the mayor.
Recipients and their families are free to stay, and if you'd like to exit at this time, you are more than welcome, and congratulations again.
That's pretty sweet.
Madam Clerk? Yes, we are now ready for our next presentation. I'm Dr. Fuller.
I have it.
Check, check. Check. Camera back up. Well, thank you for the invitation. Terry Prater and Ken Robinson, we've got folks here for an update. Next slide, please. First, just a reminder. Click. Yes. Our last time we were presenting back in July, we left here and we said that there was a couple of things that we wanted to get accomplished. Good news is all the things that we talked about have been accomplished. You know, we completed the meetings with individual council members. We completed our interest indicator application to the TDT task force. We had our meeting with the TD task force and presentation on August 5th. And next slide, please. The good news is after that presentation, the TDT task force ranked all the projects. And we're happy to say and celebrate the fact that project that we presented was rated the highest among all the projects. So the next move, the next step for the TDT task force was today. They presented to the TDC, the council, and it was approved to move forward to the Board of County Commissioners. And as soon as we get the details on that, we'll make sure that the council is briefed on that. And just for, as a reminder, next slide, yes, that this is part of the presentation that we shared with the Tourist Development Task Force. And again, the whole idea was that stars have aligned You know, when it comes to funding, having the plan, having funding available, investments back to those charities. And we feel very, very encouraged with all the support from the town that we're ready to move forward.
Next slide, please. So if you look at this, we kind of put this together for the TDT. This is the start of the Hungerford property. You'll see that 85 acres, Manny's here tonight, and you'll see coastline kind of hashed out there on the bottom left. Coming the very top is Kennedy Boulevard, Interstate 4 is over to the left. So we've got a road that kind of winds on down and through, and the park becomes the central piece to everything of the campus. So next slide, please. This is a destination that's already defined. That's what we talked to the task force about. That was important to them, that there was something that was defined about where it could be. So this is the 85-acre Hungerford site. What we proposed was a 10-acre campus for the cultural museum in the art kind of setting with it, the heritage campus that we talked about. The cultural museum will be 30,000 square feet. It'll be 2 stories, so 15,000 each floor. And then the festival space, you'll see that in just a moment. That'll be capable of holding up to 3,000 people at any given festival at any given time. So now you'll have that permanent home for your festivals that the town so much deserves. Thank you. Next. And this is kind of the artist kind of conceptual of all of it. So you see that festival space right in the center of it at the end. And this is a view from it. You're sitting on I-4. You're sitting on Interstate 4. You're going north, you look over to the right, now you see this town of Eatonville coming alive. On the very top left is Kennedy Boulevard. That's where the Cultural Museum is. And then everything spills out into the park. Let's go to the next slide, please. Within this campus, within that, the park will be a place for not only for tourists to visit, but predominantly for the community, 365 days a year. This is a concept of the children's splash pad play that's within it. There'll be a heritage walk that talks about the citizens of Eatonville, the great citizens of Eatonville from time. There'll be places for families to gather. This is a big campus, a big park. The next slide, please. But it takes a lot of construction.
It's gonna require a lot of work. You know, we've talked about this many times that Dr. Phillips charities cannot do all this by ourselves. There'll be lots of partnerships, lots of work that has to happen between now and this becoming reality. There are a number of things that will have to happen. Primarily preparing residents that want to be interested in working on construction site or a permanent job. We have to start now to develop job fairs and contractor preparedness. We can't wait until we're ready to start construction to get ready. So there's a lot of work that we have to do in partnership, and we'll be talking about that for the coming months. Next slide. Similarly, when we get into the operating of the museum itself, we've already done some analysis with our consultants. We're expecting to have 109 full-time jobs with benefits, right?
The 9's supposed to be up with the 10.
And formatting is off. But again, and during construction, 300 to 400 jobs during construction. And that's why it's so important that we start now, preparing people that might be interested in those jobs, instead of waiting until the last minute. And next slide, please. The one thing on this slide I want to point out is at the bottom where it says community voice system. Through this entire process, the community voice is critical. Not only doing with the work of the committee, advisory committee has been very invaluable to us. But as we move forward, it's going to be more and more important that residents show up and give us their feedback. We had a great meeting just about a week ago, a town hall meeting over in Macedonia. And the turnout was great feedback. They gave us lots of things to think about and consider. And we plan to have another meeting soon. So the next slide. Just to give you an idea of what's ahead, next steps, as we go through this year, we'll finish out the actual closing on the property, going into between 2026 and 2028. That's when the work begins on the campus, the pavilion. And then the next thing, if you remember in our agreement between Dr. Phillips Charities in Orange County Public Schools, that by year 3, we would have an early learning center open. So we haven't forgotten about that commitment. We have to still hit those target dates. So that work is beginning with the advisory committee now, looking at putting together a task force for early learning. So that's in the next phase. And again, in 2030, by 2030, to have a healthcare hub. And we need resident engagement involvement to help us decide what that is and how that's designed and how it will be used by the community. So again, next slide. Upcoming,
Go
again,
back one.
go back. Go back.
Go.
Yeah, continue our teams meeting with staff and planners to make sure that everything's still going, especially when it comes to all the work that has to be done with infrastructure, completing the survey and closing on the land. Next slide, and the next thing on our schedule that's for the town to be aware of is a next town hall meeting on October 7th at Macedonia Church.
So this is a snippet of the presentation that we made to the TDC primarily. There's a lot that's in there. All of that is public record. There is a tremendous amount of work. Before we do any of that work, though, we need the final approval from the Board of County Commissioners to go forward with the project. And then we have to come back to you as the town council, present a master development agreement, work through that, and get your approvals to do this work. So there's a lot of steps. It'll involve the town council, it'll involve the citizenry, and we look forward to those next steps. We think it would be ideal. I mean, they've seen a lot of issues going on with the town in the sense of different projects that have been placed forward. And I think it would be ideal if at some point in time, the town council supported this project, stepped forward and said, this is a project we want to stand behind. We think it's a great opportunity for the town of Eatonville. We look forward to working with you on it, what your concerning questions you might have.
Any questions from the council for Dr. Phillips, Chair, and Lisa, thank you, Chair. No.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, we just gave stars. Thank you. Right.
We are now ready for our last presentation from host time.
Well, we could.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Those of you who don't know me, I'm Manny Bibar. We're the, developer and owner of the data center that's being built here in Eatonville. So, wanted to sort of just give a general update on where we are in the project, and then also wanna give just a quick overview of some of the things that are behind the infrastructure that hopefully gives some sort of technical understanding of some of the features of the infrastructure, especially now, and it seems like, the whole nation and world is talking about data centers, so it's a good opportunity to sort of explain a little bit about that. So as far as the project, we are hopefully, the latest schedule is we're pursuing the CO by the end of September. Right now, that's what's in our current construction schedule with the remaining final scope of work by our contractors. At this point, there's no major constraints in the project. We're working through our punch out, list under construction. For those of you driven by the site recently, you can tell the landscape's done, and anybody who's in construction probably knows that that's the final phase of completion. So it's been a very painful, long time journey. But seeing it come to near completion it's extremely, fulfilling, for us to, finish this, long anticipated project. So as of, the most recent construction schedule, we're working closely with Town of Eagle building inspector and Orange County fire marshals, to hopefully get, RCO at the end of September. Um, I'll pause there in terms of any questions regarding the project or timeline, and then I'll move on to sort of some of the things that we did with this design of the data center that speaks towards the infrastructure behind it.
Do you have any questions or comments?
Yes.
Councilman?
First of all, thank you for being here. I know it's been some time. I know it's been challenging to get through this process. But one of my main concerns is, from an infrastructure, perspective. You tell me, what's going on with the flooding whenever it rains or we're having bad storms? Because I know it's typically a lake that goes through that particular area whenever it does. Does that have anything to do with your construction or?
So, yes and no. The short answer is, one of the reasons why, we put in our development plan to create that, road was to avoid traffic coming into the property and, holding back, traffic on Wymore. So as part of that effort, when that road was built, there was an invert tank put under the road to allow the water to swell. Over time, it looks like where that water was leading on the other side of the swell, got built up and water is not positively flowing, to the other side, of the swell. So that sort of has created, sort of like a puddling effect on that. As of, most recent weeks, our civil engineer, GAI, has been looking at solutions to solve that. Also, when Duke Energy put, those poles on Wymore, they unfortunately put one of the conduits through the tie-in, inadvertently in the contractor, so they've been working on a plan to resolve that, which is, also causing the problem. So, hopefully that explains why I say yes and no. So obviously Duke did provide us power, but, obviously they caused some of that issue. And obviously with the road being built there, and the water not flowing now on the other side of the swell, there's definitely some work that needs to be done by Orange County to make sure that swell extends out to the other side.
Okay, I got another question also, which is important. I think this is, the question that comes from my residents a lot, and the question is, what is it gonna take in terms of the capacity of water usage that you're gonna be using for this particular, building that you have going up, in terms of, cooling the generators off or whatever significance that is gonna take to be operational?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So we had shared previously, and I think it was shared in a previous town council meeting, that, the type of data centers that we build are what we call next generation. The reason why these data centers are actually good is because it'll allow us to decommission the legacy data centers. So we use a system called a closed loop system. Effectively, once, the chilled water is charged once, it's designed in a way where there's, minimal to none, very minimal evaporation. And we have this sort of system even in our existing data center, which is down the block on Kennedy, for those of you aware or not. And sort of like a data point towards that. I think our water bill there is, a couple $100 a month, so it's very minimal. So, hopefully that sort of explains that, in the new data center, the water is even more efficient. So if our older facility didn't
sort of have that demand of water, there's no way the new one would. Once the initial, charge of the water in the system, then minimal upkeep would be required. In fact, probably just this domestic water in the building would be, higher, and the irrigation might be higher than actually the cooling part of the data center. So water usage is basically, minimal.
Okay, I got two more questions also, as brief as possible. My next question would be, from a health perspective, in this community or any community, you've been the specialty and expert at how the data centers operate and work. How hazardous is this, to our community in terms of being a data center right here in the midst of our community? Like, do we have any worries or any concerns that we need to be worried about with this data center being positioned in the place that's been positioned at, from the perspective of health in my community and my citizens?
No, I think this is a really misconception of that, and understandably, as a child growing up, I would always hear like standing by, these massive power lines that they would sort of radiate, some sort of negative energy. I believed it, so I didn't know any better, so, I just wanna clarify here, there's zero sort of health, risk towards, even being in the data centers. And, back to sort of the data point, we operate a data center in the town of Eatonville since 2006 off Kennedy. That has caused absolutely zero, in my understanding, negative impacts to the town. And we've been there for that long. So hopefully, that's proof of, of that confirmation of that. And, there's absolutely, zero risk in terms of health, or else we wouldn't be occupying it ourselves.
Okay, this will be my last and final question. And I know it's something that you had, indicated when you initially started this project. You, told the residents that you would supply free Wi-Fi for every resident in the town of Eatonville. Is that something that you're still entertaining and that you're gonna be committed to doing?
So, how I've consistently sort of explained it is, inherently, data centers have an abundance of bandwidth, right? Bandwidth works in two ways. You sort of download and upload. Data centers emit bandwidth 90% in, outbound and 10% in inbound versus, residents or businesses, they occupy the opposite side. So when this sort of project was talked about, I, out of my own, soul was, said, that because we have an abundant of bandwidth, it would be good to broadcast, to give internet to residents. And that goes deeper for me. Without the internet, I wouldn't have my career. As an immigrant child to this country, the internet's provided me resources that I wouldn't have gotten otherwise. So I know the value firsthand of internet. So, understanding that certain residents of the town of Eagle don't have internet, it sort of came to a conclusion to me that if we have an abundance of bandwidth, that, we should find a way to deliver some of that bandwidth, to people who don't. So I call bandwidth akin to water, right? If I have an abundance of water and I wanna, gift it, there still needs to be a method of transporting that water, pipes. So, I've been consistent in saying if we can solve for that, then I think it would allow us to, do what, offering that up. In the interim, we will, because obviously that's a capital spend, we would happily broadcast a public Wi-Fi off Kennedy, that we can easily do off the rooftop of our, facility, as a, early start, because we want to. It was never, ever in any developer agreement or any agreement that this would be required. So, our goal is to, at minimum, broadcast a public Wi-Fi, that, you see in other cities that, we would happily, expense for that antenna. But in terms of, socializing, free internet to residents is genuinely not sustainable. I think we've struggled with doing a joint venture with an ISP that does that for a living, where we can give them the bandwidth and then they can transport it. I think that's more, sustainable, and we would be happy to have those discussions to, make whole my personal commitment that I did out of my own self to give access to that bandwidth to people who need it.
Okay, with that being said, I don't wanna go long with this meeting, but, I have been sent up here and I have been a part of this, particular, process and of you constructing, which has been quite some time now. And I definitely recall sitting up there on this diocese with you indicating to the council during the time that we had up here that you would supply free Wi-Fi to every resident in the town of Eatonville. I can go back and pull those records for the record, and I think it is a bad, I'm trying to choose my words wisely, but if you say you're gonna do something, I think you need to do it. I know things change, and I know you've been dealing with a lot with this particular, project that you have over here, and it's been some time now. I don't even want to get into the weeds of woes about how long it's been taking, and I'm in hopes that you will have your OC sooner than later, because you are being penalized, and it's pretty significant at this point, and I want to make sure that you're moving in a way that's gonna make sense. Now I gotta explain to my citizens that what you granted, well, what you said you was gonna give them, you're not gonna no longer be able to do it because you say it's not sustainable.
Well,
That's what you just
if
stated, right?
if it was, if it would never transfer to it in the developer's agreement, so it was never sort of like a requisite of a private, in a public partnership, or else it would have been in the developer's agreement. I don't disagree that the Wi-Fi conversations were discussed. And that's why, I mentioned that, for the sake of, making, following through on what was discussed, we will be doing that public Wi-Fi, as far as it can reach within the main public, Kennedy Road. So,
I don't wanna get too much into it. You kind of gave me an indication of, what you're gonna do moving forward in terms of not being able to supply that, which pretty puts me in a place to, have an issue with it, because these were things that was discussed. There was no one up here on this panel besides myself that had these discussions with you sitting up here at the, panel right now. And I know it was a very exciting time during that time. And, years have went, and I know people have a tendency of forgetting, and, I would hope that you are not that person that are forgetful of the things that you promised. And it was a promise, whether you said it was in a contract or contractual with the process, and if you're doing this particular, project over there as far as construction wise, all I remember as a resident and as a leader up here is that you were gonna supply free Wi-Fi for everybody. And that was a known thing, because people talk about it all the time, still to this day, 6 years later. And you're not at completion yet, and I know you're cycling to get to that point of completion. And I'm hoping that you do get there sooner than later, because of the significance that you're dealing with now with, all the monies that you're paying out, and I know the significant money that you already dished into it. And, I know the slow process, get everything, compact and, ready for your OC. But it's somewhat disappointing to know that you're not gonna be supplying my citizens with something that you promised them, whether you said it was contractual or something that we agreed with on paper, with an agreement or not, you verbally said, your word is your bond.
I guess,
Your word is your bond, and if I say I'm gonna do something, mark your word, I'm gonna do it. And, for you to guide my citizens down the path, because they depend on me on the voice for the voiceless. They can't speak right now. I'm their voice, so I'm speaking for them. For you to give them any indication or an idea that they're gonna begin this free wildfire, is mind-boggling, and it's a slap in the face to my citizens.
I just want to be clear, I wasn't gifted the land. I didn't, we weren't just gifted anything, so to sort of have that understanding of, I said I was gonna give you something for something, that's non-existent. So, and if I will reiterate that the public Wi-Fi would effectively, follow through with that, there's a big difference, I think, in the technical understanding of how, a broad community like free Wi-Fi, versus, there's actually an infrastructure that needs to be installed and operated. To understand the difference, it's important. So in terms of, the Wi-Fi, that I mentioned, it would be broadcasted in public that would effectively, be able to be used at no cost. So, I think the lack of understanding by perhaps, certain people of understanding of what it actually means to have free Wi-Fi to that house is very different than, how it was meant to be illustrated, and it was never meant to be in any way, shape, or form to be deviated from now honoring, something that was stated. Because it's not like we just got gifted this.
I hear your word of lack of misunderstanding, and I'm not understanding that, I can't wrap my head around that. And I'm not gonna sit here and try to wrap my head around what you just said in terms of lack of understanding or misunderstanding.
Understanding
Hold
of-
on, hold on. Mind you, and I'm glad you brought up the infrastructure component of that, because this council, I didn't approve of it, but this council gave me $200,000 for infrastructure purposes. For whatever reason that was used for, I don't know. And my reason for asking also is because of the amount of water that piles up over there on Wildwood Road. And me personally, if we gave you $200,000 reference to infrastructure while we're having the problems that we're having, I don't even see a retention over there. Do you have a retention?
What?
Retention, you have a retention over there, like. we have-
Retention pond?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's the one, that we drain to with for elementary.
sorry,
It's the pond, it's the retention pond that's in between us and Hungerford Elementary.
I've never seen it. That's.
We helped Orange County build that.
Okay, but neither here nor there, in closing, I feel like you let my citizens down, right? Because you said you was gonna get on free Wi-Fi out of your own mouth 6 years ago, over 6 years ago. And I remember that, nobody sitting up here besides myself. And for you not to be able to meet that criteria, that's a very serious problem with this, especially from a business perspective. I'm a businessman, who run the business just like you, right? You got a business to run. But if you say you're gonna do something, and that goes to anybody, I don't care, if anybody come in this town and say they're gonna do something, that's what I'm expecting them to do, especially when it's benefiting our town. And if you get to a point to where you say that there's been a lack of communication or understanding, that's irrelevant to what Precision is gonna do, right? And I'm not saying they're trying to undermine you, because that's the least thing that I wanna do, but I gotta be truthful about everything that's taking place right now. And I know a lot of times you don't wanna hear truth, but the truth will set you free, right? But if you're gonna say something, and I think moving forward for future reference, be mindful of what's gonna come out of your mouth before you say it, if you don't mean it. Because you did say that you was gonna provide free Wi-Fi, that's why so many people. If I do a survey right now in this community and ask, how many people said that we was gonna give free Wi-Fi, because you got some people steady asking me about it daily. Oh man, I can't wait to get this free Wi-Fi, so they got this notion that they're gonna get this free Wi-Fi whenever it's completion over here, and that's not the case. And guess what? It's a very bad news that I have to break to my citizens, that you're not gonna get free Wi-Fi. And guess who they're gonna, hold accountable? Me. Not you, me. So with that being said, I think we need to deviate from, just doing things just to make it seem good and make it sound good, and be truthful about the matter. And at this point, also, and I have no problem with you, man, but I gotta hold you accountable. You're supposed to be here last presentation, for whatever reason, I haven't seen you in over a year. But it's nice to see you now, and they're just sitting up here giving a presentation, but that's still not okay. And I fault the administration for that, because they should have put fire up on you and say, hey, listen, man, council wanna see you. And I'm one of the main ones that want to see you. I'm a big advocate of trying to get things done in a manner that's gonna make sense, but if you're gonna sit here and, somewhat contradict yourself on what you said and kind of shy away from it, that doesn't sit well with me. It doesn't. It doesn't. But I'll yield my time to whoever wants to speak, more about whatever question they have for you. But, I'm not satisfied and happy with what I see and everything that I'm gathering right now.
Do we have any other comments or questions from the council?
I do. So when you say bandwidth, is that like, me being at my job and I connect to the internet, that's the free Wi-Fi? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, bandwidth is basically how data is transported from, devices to, go.
So it would be something about like, I go to Starbucks.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's still free Wi-Fi. We don't want me, okay, that's all. Thank you. That's it. I do have a question but thank you for coming, I appreciate it. So, my concern is, the noise. So will there be like any, safeguards or parameters, like, around big generators and stuff like that? I had a survey been done, not sure.
Sorry, was your question regarding
Noise.
the noise of the generators?
Yeah.
Yeah, so typically, the generators wouldn't run unless there's a power outage and, that's, usually not that common, for us. But the generators typically are tested, once a month. And, they run for, about an hour. So we have two generators at our existing data center that already do those testings and, they, obviously, it sounds like a motor. But, we have enclosures within the generators that are sound attenuating, enclosures. And also the data center, the generators we installed in the new data center, actually a new generation of Cummins generators, that are even smaller and sort of more quiet. So that coupled with the sound attenuation, in theory, they should be even quieter than the current data center generators that
obviously haven't been a concern to my knowledge, or else they would have been brought up in previous meetings.
And, another question, are you still under that, stop work order?
No, that was, about a year ago that happened.
About a year ago, so you still, moving?
No, what I'm saying is that stop work order got, reinstated about a year ago.
And last question. We have to.
Anytime. We've had, various over the past, 12 months. Yeah, and, I would welcome anybody, anytime. I'm there, a few times a week. And, I'd be happy to coordinate to show you inside.
Was privy to going probably.
I do remember, yeah, actually,
Years ago,
Yeah.
with this, Eatonville Chamber.
yes,
So,
I do. I
So
do.
it was good, and I'm happy to know that we are making some progress, and we're getting closer to an opening date, so I would like to,
Yeah, and I would-
You gotta answer your phone.
I know, I apologize, I do remember getting a mixed call and, my apologies, I haven't returned your call. But yeah, I would love to show you the existing data center as well, because I think it sort of adds, perspective on the, what production, and since you were there before, you'll see pretty big improvements.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Manny, I just want to piggyback off of Councilwoman Jordan's, noise pollution concern. If I'm not mistaken, when I spoke with you, the intent was that when you needed to do testing or anything like that, you would have to schedule
Yeah.
for it, and that information could be disseminated throughout the community to prepare residents and business owners that in any way could be potentially affected by that noise. If that's still your amendment?
Yeah, absolutely. And typically, they're not run overnight, but yeah, once we commission the facility, and have a sort of like our schedule going, we were happy to share that, a schedule. It's, like I said, once a month, about an hour, and usually it's in the late morning.
Any other questions or comments from the council?
I do now, I'm not 100% sure if I heard what the solution is gonna be to that flood that we get on Wyoming Road, like, it's like a lake,
Yeah,
what are we doing?
so, we had a meeting with Orange County Civil Engineer and Duke. So the first thing that needs to be done is Duke needs to, fix their infrastructure that going through that culvert. They're in process of doing that. Once that's done, our civil engineer is looking at doing some drainage on the road that will go into, our drainage plan that would go to that the retention pond in the back. And then we need Orange County to, redig the swales on the right side of the road, because the elevation issues right now are not in sync. If you go there, you can visually see why the water's piling up there. There's no positive flow of water going through there. So all those combined are sort of, issues, that, concurrently, all three, are being addressed.
Now, what does that timeline look like? Because I think I heard you say you looking to potentially open in, September. So what is that timeline with that big lake flood? What does that look like?
So Duke was on site earlier this week. We're hoping that they move that pipe. You remember the pipe that they're looking to move it hopefully in the next 2 to 3 weeks. From there, we're looking to, update,
a drainage there, adjust the culvert. And then we need to talk to Orange County to, effectively build out that swell. So there's the positive flow. So we're hoping to do all that obviously by the end of September.
Okay, and if that is not, if that does not get completed prior to September, hopefully you won't be open.
So when I,
Is that something that you'll have to be permanent for, this money, y'all help me?
I mean, technically,
Just now, you know.
I'm gonna yield to this to, Daniels, because I've given him the facts.
So, Mayor Council, I had a meeting prior to coming over here today, with Ms. Monday, as well as Alan from CPH. Those issues that's been going on over there, that the county came out today. Alan, who does the inspections and do our plan reviews and all that, CPH. Apparently, as Mr. Mann said, there's a swell, it's about 18 inches. So the water going back towards, West Channel 2 on that side, it can't go up the embankment. So in order for it to do it, it has to be leveled out and redone. So according to Alan from CPH today, this money was sitting there has to be some conversations, and I have, letters and stuff from Alan, and he's supposed to send another update today, telling what that conversation was and who's responsible for getting done. According to, Mr. Manning is the owner of it, but Mr. Allen said it goes back to the engineer record, should be making sure that that was taken care of. So, which is GAI, is GAI. So that was the meeting that was held today. There is more meetings coming up, and we'll just try to work.
So what about infrastructure issues?
Yeah, the water management, and according to Mr. Allen, you can tell that to us. According to, Mr. Allen from from CPH, the engineer on record is also responsible for filling out all applications that go towards water management. It's the engineer on record, ultimately it's Mr. Lanning's property. But as if we would do something, you consult it out soon, and that's who's responsible for filling that assignment.
that swell though issue is, I just want to make clear that out of our property, in sort of the Orange County's, yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, any more questions for me?
Don't leave it though, man, don't leave, please.
No, I'm not either.
I mean, I'm good, but I wanna hear Ms. Monday because.
Yeah.
This,
I'm very interested because if this is not resolved before you get a certificate of occupancy, you're leaving us on the problem. So we have the issues of a water management district permit for the roadway, which was not obtained. They have a violation on this matter and they've asked you to cease work. So your engineer, you have got to go to the table and sit down and get this issue resolved. I met with, Joe Kunkel, who's the public works director from Orange County today. They are all saying this is the owner's responsibility to make sure when you put a roadway that you've got clear path for drainage. It's a little bigger than a small group of people. You have a number of people now that are very concerned about this problem and not resolved in entirety. I don't care about finger pointing. This matter will be in our hands. And we have to get this resolved, and we're asking that you double your efforts to get this matter resolved before we can recognize this certificate of occupancy. So, and we're here to see.
So before a certificate of occupancy, to my understanding, is given, it would have to go through all the inspection process and everything that's been cleared off. So that's the purpose of that.
because.
So for a certificate of occupancy, you would have to be cleared by all the inspections, and that's our third party vendors. So that's dealing with CPH, UES, and all of them. those are the building inspectors that go to determine that everything is okay for someone to give a certificate of occupancy. So before Mr. Manning can get that certificate, that CO, everything would have to be handled that way. So that's clear for everybody to understand. The engineers, the UES, all those people, all of those individuals would have to go through and sign off saying that it was okay before the certificate of occupancy is given. Correct, Monday?
That's correct, that's correct.
That's gonna be pretty challenging, especially with the condition that we're dealing with now. This is not nothing that just happened overnight. It's been happening for some time now since you started construction over there. We haven't had it up this significant since the, construction have started with Host Dive. And like you indicated, Ms. Monday, in order to be able to get your OC, you're gonna have to go through some, measurements with all these different, engineers and whoever else you need to deal with. But not only that, this is very problematic for our community because it's a lot of damage being done to people's vehicles. And on one of them that rides through here, a lot of time I have to go all the way around, if it's bad floods, well, I won't damage my vehicle. But I've had other people have had damage done to the vehicle due to the, flooding that have been taking place over here. And as far as I'm concerned, what I'm gathering is that it's a hose down problem that needs to be issued, that it needs to be dealt with. And if it's not dealt with, you're not gonna possibly be able to get your OC, which is gonna be another problem. So I guess whatever the road or right of way, whatever it is that you need to correct, it needs to be done sooner than later. If you wanna, be able to get an OC, that's how it looks. And I know you're dealing with a lot of challenges, you know what I'm saying? And, sorry that you're dealing with these challenges that you're dealing with, but, it's part of the business process of it too, right? I know we run into a lot of different derails that we don't necessarily want to run into. Whether it's deflation, I know we spoke on that last time I seen you over a year ago, you talked about the inflation. We all dealing with inflation. I pay higher prices of gas now when I go to work versus what I used to pay, right? So, the nature of that is gonna reflect on everything that's taking place right now, and I'm in hopes that you can get to a better place than where you're at right now. And we want to be able to help you out in any way you possibly can, but you gotta be able to meet us halfway too, to be able to, determine what we can do to make sure that we're moving forward, we're getting things done in a proper manner. So with that being said, I'm hoping that we can iron this out.
But then I do, and I don't know, Mr. Fraser and Mr. Robinson, I'm wondering what type of impact, will this have on what we're trying to do, with you guys, with the project from Dr. Phillips? Like, wondering what kind of impact is that going to have? Thank you.
It's speculative, but we can't say really what the impact will or won't be.
I'm sorry, y'all in the house together, so we might as well put it out. I mean, because we're having this conversation and we have, the bodies in here. I know that you guys are engineers, but I mean, just like common sense, like, what kind of impact is it gonna have?
Really, we will trust that Mandy will get this taken care of and integrate, allow the closing to go forward. Part of the closing of the property is the access road that's there, that's the part of the property. And so obviously, everybody, the town, the citizens will want to see that fixed and it's in his best interest, obviously, he's trying to get his property opened up and operating. So we'll get there.
Thank you for that question.
Yeah.
We all live in-
Can I have one last quick, request?
Ms. Madden, thank you for coming in tonight, first of all, and, speaking to us and letting us get the information from the horse's mouth. For the sake of the record, as it has been stated over and over, we will allow the experts to be the experts. If the experts are coming to the table, if Duke Energy is coming to the table, Orange County is coming to the table, and Holstein is coming to the table, then obviously Top Eatonville is coming to the table. We will allow the experts to determine who's responsible for what, who will be doing what, and then we can assess when we can anticipate an actual opening. Outside of the information from the experts, it is hard to place blame anywhere. And I'm sure you know what your responsibility is, I'm sure you've experienced whatever has been going on down there and have made necessary phone calls. I'm sure you've been in contact with this Monday and your engineers and our engineers. And we're excited about the information coming from the experts. Councilman Matt.
Yes, this is just be a request, and I know I made this request last time, and it wasn't fulfilled, but in hopes that you could, come to every meeting and, give us updates on. I know you said you're gonna be at completion in September, so we're talking about next month, so from here on out, if you can, please come and give us a presentation on updates that you would think be, ideal for us to listen to, perhaps. That way you won't be behind the eight ball. If you can kind of give us information going up until your, getting your OC, that'd be awesome. But by you not showing up, it kind of gives me a, idea that, you know, you can care less. That's just, I'm trying to use my words wisely, but that's just, I gotta give it to you how I have to give it to you. So if you're here, that shows that you really care about what's going on. But like I indicated before, Manny, I haven't seen you in over a year. And, that's a problem. I shouldn't have to call you. If anything, you should be calling me, especially dealing with something like this of this significance right here. So if you can, like I said, that's my request, if you can show up every council meeting to give us kind of a report on what's going on, that'd be great. Thanks.
All right. I want to say thank you, Mr. Bernard. Thank you. Thank you. All right, council, we're moving along. Karen, I'm ready for citizen participation.
We have Marcus Grant, accompanied by Erica Lane.
How's everybody doing? My name is Marcus Grant. I am the OTC GED administrator for the new, building that's over across from Funky. That's our Eatonville campus, building 9. We will be starting the GED and welding, program. We're open. And we just want to let everyone know that we are open and welcoming for business and want to get the word out for the town to let them know that we do have opportunities for them. As everyone is said tonight, education is the key. So that's why we're here. I will be the point contact person for this site, along with Mr. Joseph Franklin. Yeah, Joe Ray. This is right. He will be also be contact as well. So when the students come in or when the town comes in or anyone comes in, they just let us know which program they want to do. If they want GED or if they want to do welding program. And we'll get them started. They will speak with the counselor at our South Campus, which is our big Florida South Campus called Oak Ridge and John. So the counselor there will instruct them. They can call them, and we also have a registration that they can register at that site to get started on the program. That's Ashley.
Okay, so good evening, I'm Erica Ashley. Also, like Mr. Grant was saying, they have, a site there, so in case our residents here still aren't able to get down to the South Campus, they can register there, have the ability to register there. As he said, just to piggyback on what Mr. Grant said, we have welding, we have GED classes, we have ESOL classes there. And we could add other, things there, but we just want to let everyone know that we're open for business. Mr. Grant as well as Mr. Raymond are the point people there, but I am, they're not available if there are any questions. that need to be, answered. I don't know the answer, I can definitely point the people in the right direction. We just want to get as many people as, that are interested to come in, even if we have flyers, so even if I can bring some flyers now, maybe we can put it in the mailers for water bills, because as I was expressing to Mr. Rain and Mr. Raymond, like I personally know like 3 people that need their GP, but most people don't want to tell you that they don't have their GP. But we have classes that are going on right now. The ESOL class in the morning starts at 7:45, and then the GED class right now starts at 11. But she only has a couple of students, so we can be flexible, because as we all know, education is key. I talked to the welding instructor today. He said he has possibly 2 weeks for the welding class. And he's gonna possibly start his class on Monday. But, ideally, if we could get 12 welding students, I mean, at our other welding sites, I talked to students, they say they work 6 months, 6 figures. So I figure that, it could be ideal for a lot of people. Want to let everyone know that we're open for business and stop it. We're open as early as. The building opens at 7, but there will be someone in there that, is.
Think about that. Right, some of them. And we also we're trying to work, where we can have GED tested in the heat. Just trying to find out how to do that, provide staff and that we have. Or we will be, starting charity, if they can't make it in the mornings or afternoon, we'll have, they, be open to, the last test will probably be about, 11:37. Because the test does vary, there are 4 different sections, so the test will have certain parts of the time, they can do. So 7 probably the last time, I think that is, social studies. And I do have business cards, if anybody want, when I can, go on my card, if you have any questions or can't remember anything, give me a call. If I don't have an answer, trust me, I will find out that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I don't know, maybe give your, I'd like the card. I would like the card, or you can give to the CAO or. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Just use that.
Okay, we're sticking to the 3 minutes for the record. Who else do we have tonight with King?
Our next citizen participation would be Michelle Ford. And my microphone is working just fine.
Are you ready? Ms. King, do we have any other person?
The next citizen participation is Angie Gardner.
Good evening, everyone. Angie Gardner, High School Superintendent. Some decorum. I will speak as a citizen and resident. These meetings are too long. We need a time limit for responses so that extemporaneous information is removed. The rambling and the degradation of staff and workers is as inappropriate now as it was in the last 6 years. It needs to stop. When earlier it was talked about was the refund for water because of the accidents. And it was stated that we need to follow the law. Well, the law prior to that was that water rate should have been increased each year by law. So if you're going to turn around and give a rebate or fix a problem, then to me, you look at how much that asterisk costs, but then how much should the water rate have been over all of those years when it's never increased, if we should follow the law? Finally, when we get to the budget, every single year, there's a targeting of positions. That is clearly a constraint. If you're gonna pass the budget, pass the budget. Let the administration share what they need to run this town. That's not your job. And I'm not here to tell you your job. But every year that budget becomes a contingent piece. Every single year, and you start targeting people. Even though you try to mask it as positions, you know who's in those positions. And that can't continue if we want this town to run efficient. Currently, the mayor's salary is double that of the council. But if you give yourself a raise of 2,000, and the mayor only gets a raise of 500, something ain't fair. So if the current ratio is 50%, then it should remain that way. So if you're gonna give yourself a raise of 2,000, that mayor should be 4. Or you give yourself a raise to the 1,125, and she gets the 2,500. I said it wrong. 1,020.50, and she gets 2,500. But it's just because let's just go to wardrobe she's gonna need. I mean, come on. I'm taking the past 4 years, Mr. Villar has never, well, 6 years, he has never stood up here and said that he was gonna provide Wi-Fi for the house. It has been said. It has never been in writing. And I brought that issue up. But he has always said that the houses need to have the cable, whatever that's called. And then he even talked about a hotspot in the town, several of them in the town. But he has never stated that he was gonna give Wi-Fi to every home. But I know about a decade or so ago that conversation was in the air and it was throughout the town, so I'm sure it was passed, but it's never in writing. And $200,000 was a 3-person vote, and 2 people voted against it, me and the prior vice mayor of Washington.
Thank you. Ms. Ford, are you ready? Happy Tuesday.
Good evening, everyone. I just would like to say, and I'm gonna piggyback off what the former mayor said. We come out here because we want to be engaged. A meeting shouldn't take 6 hours. They don't even let that go on in other municipalities. There's rules out. You can debate an issue once or twice, 15 minutes, and that should be enough. But to sit up here and have an entire therapy session is not legislative. My next point is this. The charter says that the council will adopt a budget. It did not say you can pick the salary. It doesn't tell you that you can pick which position. I think that we really need to have a session for everyone. What does the charter say? And let's do what it says. If it says it's administration, then we let the mayor be the mayor because she was elected to do that job. So what I'm here for is this today. Today is a new day. Let's start doing our jobs. And let's start working for actually the citizens. I look forward to having a conversation with Mayor. I'm having the move speaking August 29th at Eatonville Library Club. Let's talk to him because everything starts with a conversation to hear each other. My last comment is this, former mayor, you were right. Mr. Manny came in September the 2nd, 2025. Mr. Matthew voted yes. You even gave him back the $200,000 rebate. In addition, took out the song.
I think you know what the minutes.
Okay, now, look at the minute. you voted to take out a clause that we could have put it up for sale. Now, my second point is this, if the contract expired or whatever date, so you look at it, got the receipt, check your email right now, you get it. Let's check to see if that contract is still valid. If he did not meet that completion date, sit down with your attorney. Let's sit down and have a conversation with him and to get this settled, because it's not about our ego, it's about our citizens. Thank you for your time.
Are there any other participants, Ms. King?
Yes, our last one, which is, Angela Johnson.
Mayor, council, residents. So I know that your budget is a marginal tax. And, I'm gonna disagree with that, it is for you to have a responsibility to pass a budget. And I think that what I was hearing as you were going line by line, that was concerning for me, is that you were recommending a lot of increases in your expenses. When you look at your balanced budget, you don't have anything sitting in contingency. So I challenge you to think about the adjustments that you're recommending. If there's nothing in contingency that you should pull those funds from. Unless you have some hidden projected revenues out there that haven't been shared yet. I asked Mr. Manning to stay, because I wanted to ask the question publicly. What is the projected cost for infrastructure for the Wi-Fi? And if that is something that is so very much desired, and if he could just maybe explain when he's saying that he put something on top and then there's, public versus private, and then people having sense that they're, I'm an accountant, okay, so, and then if there is a conduit for Wi-Fi, what is the projected cost, what are potential partnerships for that? So, and maybe we can all come together to meet the need of what was discussed verbally, but not actually put in writing as a deliverable. So, I want you to think about that. Dr. Phillips, just a question and a request. When you're having the community meetings, a lot of us travel. Try to be here when you're there, when you have those meetings, but if those meetings can be virtual or some type of connection for those, even if you just broadcast it, so that there can be, we can just take a look when we're not in the room. If you could, I've asked that several times, and each time I ask, it says, we're considering, we heard it, same thing with the town. When we're talking about a notification to disseminate information for the jobs and for everything that's going on, staff, I challenge you. We gotta do a better job of getting information out. We have a large percentage of your residents that are not on social media. We cannot rely on Instagram, Facebook to be the conduit of information for our residents. So I challenge you, please consider that. Is there any liability with the flooding on Wi-Fi? And where does that liability lead? If a person comes through when it's flooded and they try to complain. So I think that we need to make that a priority to take care of that issue. Thank you.
That was the last one.
Thank you, Ms. King. We are now ready with the approval of the consent agenda. Please be advised that the minutes included, the meeting minutes included in the consent agenda are from the meeting from June 16, 2026 and July 7, 2026. I will entertain a motion. So moved. And move, is there a second? For the approval of the consent agenda. It has been moved in second. All in favor of the approval of the consent agenda, please signify by aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay. We are now ready for council discussions. The only item that we have listed tonight is the discussion of the host guide.
Madam Mayor, I did get a communication from Councilwoman Randolph stating that she was unavailable today.
And that was her item that she wanted to discuss. I know we've had some preliminary information tonight, so we will save that for the next council meeting with Councilwoman Randolph. That being said, we are now ready for reports. CAO vacancy.
Good evening, everyone. Thank everyone for coming out tonight. Thank you for the feedback and all that. Budget preparation, legislation, judiciary, all those things we don't take lightly. And I think we are at a pivotal moment in the revamp of the town of Eatonville right now. It's very crucial that everyone understand. I understand the heartaches, I understand the pain. As you all are talking, we're spending night after night. Sometimes the mayor and I and other council people, I get phone calls at late in time, it's 11 and 12 o'clock at night. That's early, sometimes it's 6:30 in the morning. With questions and everything. So we don't mind that. But I honestly, I think the time right now is for everyone to be sincere about what we're doing. I understand that there's a difference. Mayor Creighton, said it to staff one time. To get to the center of Wymore Road or the middle of Wymore and Kennedy, it's 4 ways to get there. And sometimes we all have our perception of how you get there. But we gotta be on the same boat. We gotta be on the same team of how we get there. If we really care about this community, let's work together. We have to put aside our personal vendetta feelings and all those things, and we really gotta move this town forward. I know we've been doing things a certain way, but I'll tell you, as we've been working through this budget process, it's tedious. No one can tell you that they can turn around a town budget in a day or two. It just don't happen, y'all. I mean, we're finding stuff right now in the budget that should have been changed. A lot of these things, like we said, y'all just got done talking about y'all salaries. It's been the same salary for the last, 10, 15 years? We've been having these same budget things for the last 20 years, but now that we're trying to address these issues, it feels like from an administration standpoint, and I'm just speaking for me, I can't speak for the mayor, so I'm speaking on behalf of me, that it feels like it's a tax because we're trying to bring a difference. We keep saying we want to do all these things. If you sit down at TDT today, if you listen to TDT over the last 40 hours that they put in, everything they're talking about is getting your finances in order and collaboration. And that's why our town has such a black eye and stain on it, is because outsiders believe that we don't have our finances and our collaboration together. And that's what we're trying to correct. We're trying to correct things so we can be able to bring in more funding that alleviates some of these problems. If we get certain things going on, y'all, our budget will change to be able to increase revenues. Some of this stuff will easily go away if we learn to work together and collaborate. So I just wanted to those are things that we've been working on in administration. The salaries, we're working on the salaries, y'all. We're working on it. And I know we tell y'all that we're working on it, but a lot of this stuff is not happening overnight. It's been going on for 20, 25 years, so we can't just undo it. And some of it is gonna take for you all to come and sit down and talk with us so we can actually work through it to have a real common outcome. We're working on contingency. So talking about contingency and reserve, talking with the CPA. By state law, do we have to have contingency? Do we have to have reserve? Not really. But we need to have things in place. Because if I be honest with y'all right now, the contingency been used as almost like a slush fund because people would just pull, if they want to do basket weaving, okay, pull it out of contingency. That's not what it's made for, y'all. We have to be intentional. That's why we've been asking for this retreat. if we would have had a retreat 3 to 4 months ago, like we planned, a lot of this stuff could have been worked out towards the budget, but we could never get a retreat on the thing. Budget adjustments, I'll admit, budget adjustments haven't been done like they should be. The new accounting firm that's in talking with us saying, at average, we should do anywhere from 2 to 4 budget adjustments a year. We should be doing that, and then at the end of the year, and you all, Ms. Johnson, I'm gonna address your question. You asked about the audit. The reason that the audit can't be complete because we haven't been doing the budget adjustments and all those different things throughout the year. So it's a domino effect. But it's gonna take all of us to come together to make this happen. I think that's pretty much it. We just been working on, we're dealing with budget, we're dealing with infrastructure, we're dealing with SSOPs, for update. Chief in his department, they would have updated policies and procedures by September 15th, I think it is. That will be complete. Ms. King in the clerk's office, they're working on SSOPs, because a lot of these things haven't been in place. The personnel manual and all those updates, that will be done by September 15th. So the only one we really have to jump in more on is Public Works and Finance is being worked on by the new CPA firm. So we're trying to update policies, procedures, we will make the budget process easier for next year as well as the administration, and that's my review.
Thanks, yeah, and,
Thank you so much. I will be very brief. Again, Gemma Torcivio, TJ Law, Jen Cockcroft was with you all at your last meeting. We're honored to have an opportunity to serve the town. And we look forward to working with you and your staff and the public. So thank you.
Madam Clerk.
Thank you so much. I just want to give you some heads up. We're getting ready to make some changes in the council chamber. And the goal is to have it done by the next scheduled meeting, which is September 1st. So we're looking to replace carpet, paint the room, and wrap and accent wall. Hopefully, we will have that done, just depending on the vendor, if they're able to turn it around. So we're excited about that, and then after that, we'll get into the upgrading of the microphone. So those are just some things trying to close out before this budget ends. And I would like to yield to our deputy clerk. She has a very important announcement that she would like to make.
Yes, hello, everyone. This is my first report, I guess, as deputy manager. I thank you all for allowing me to that position. I wanted to give you an update on a project that I've been working on with these past 5 or so months with National Park Service. So in March, the National Park Service field officers actually came to the town of Eatonville, did a brief visit with us, and they let us know that they will be helping us with a project to revamp the historic markers with the town. And sometime after that, we learned that the National Park Service will actually be giving us, or awarding us $40,000 in support of that project. So, well, so since the beginning of the summer, I've been working with the National Park Service along with Mayor Brennan to kind of brainstorm some initiatives to get the residents involved and not just make this an administrative and staff endeavor, but more people, the better. So, I'm happy to announce that we will actually be creating a historic markers task force, which will be open to all residents in the community. To kind of meet some criteria, including if you're a legacy descendant, a longtime resident, maybe have some business ties with the community. I will be passing out for council. I do have a brief scope of work for the project, as well as the application questionnaire that will be going out to residents. But thanks to Ms. Johnson's comments, I was going to just put them online and share them for social media and our website, but we will definitely have to work on some more ideas and get these to the front doors, so everyone to. But yeah, thank you, that's my input.
That's our report. Thank you for the clerk's office. We discussed that. Councilor Next.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I'll be as brief as possible. First of all, thank everybody for coming out, being engaged in town business. I know it don't always look the way you want it to look, but, we're conducting business up here. Some like it, some don't. And that's just how it goes, right? Nature of the game. My condolences to anybody that has something in lost, whether it's close or far. My heart go out to you and your families in prayer. And your, for any loss that you may have suffered. And also congratulations to all the recipients, for the, winning and Bruce Mount Scholarship. What a tremendous opportunity for these kids that, earn money that are in college and that are seniors on their way to college to, be able to, get that money and do something constructive with it. So congratulations to everybody that have received that, those funds tonight. Also happy Father's Day, we didn't get an opportunity to go to any, Father's Day, events. I know we have some events that was canceled, whether it was Friday or Saturday, I don't know what days it was, but, my heart and soul is always gonna be with, 1887, especially when we established August 15th, 1887, the town that freedom built. So, I'm a big advocate of, just pushing forward, making sure that we're doing something, like-minded. And I think we definitely need to take some more initiatives. We're probably, hiring some kind of, company to come in here and facilitate on, how we do, our Father's Day, because I've heard the stories. I don't want to get into all the details, but we definitely need to brand ourselves a lot better than what we have, in terms of that right there. So hopefully we can go down a path that would make sense, in that terms. And, also, last day for election, I took an opportunity, as you can see, to go and make my voice matter. It's a very important, election cycle. We say that every election, right? But, I think this is very significant, right here, that we get the right people in the right places to make sure that they're pushing us forward, making sure that we've been successful moving forward as well. So hopefully everybody made their conviction on who they wanted to, support in doing so. Also, thanks for all the presentations, that was presented tonight. Like I said before, Winnie and Bruce Mount Scholarship, thanks for, Bruce Mount and, Councilwoman, Jordan for, being a part of that, process right there. And then also, like always, thank Dr. Phillips Foundation for coming in and give you guys, just giving us updates on everything that we need to know, and just being engaged in, community stuff that, will help us move forward with having that, great relationship that, the citizens are so much looking for. So, thank you. And host that, Manny, he's not here, but, I'm glad to thank him for just coming out. I haven't seen him in some time and just giving us some updates on, what we need to do moving forward also. And I know I stated this before, and I'm gonna put it out on the record. We need to put this on the next agenda to, and I'm selecting, Councilwoman, Jordan to sit on the CAD board, which is the Community Action Board over at Orange County. It's a very prestigious board that I think everybody should have an opportunity to take advantage of. It's so much more than just sit on that board. It brings so much leverage in terms of just bringing the resources that we need over here from all walks of life. What I'm saying? It helps in so many different ways, as far as like, the electric bill, getting ACs in your home, getting your home refurbished, whatever, you name it. There's so many different things that this program does that would be beneficial to our community. So let's make sure that we'll take advantage of putting somebody that's gonna represent us, on that board. And also, thank Mr. Office Grant and Erica Ashley for coming in and just giving us that, resource also, to educate our people, whether they're, in Eatonville or outside of Eatonville, just to take advantage of all the opportunities that are at hand with, the ESOL, the welding, GED, because a lot of people don't have those, particular things, and, it will be beneficial for them to move forward again, the job opportunities that, is much needed out here. So, thank them for their leadership and everything that they bring. And also, I know we spoke about the audit, CAO Daniels, do you know when we be anticipating on getting the audit completed?
council that we're looking at the next 2 weeks. They were waiting on a number, and the people that came in with Ms. Gibson, they have figured out the issue. So you also have to take in consideration that with the grants that we had to go to a single audit also, so that's more time that's added on because of the single audit.
I got one more thing before I close. I know I heard two citizens, one day or someone there, and one day, someone that comes to the meeting regularly. I, hear the word, we've been in meetings too long. I don't think we've been here long enough. And that's your opinion. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. And, I will go into detail, but I won't, because I want to be respectful of this council up here. But be mindful when you get up on this panel on speaking facts and truth. When you get up here saying what you want to say, and especially when it's not truthful. You're gonna speak facts, speak facts. Don't get up there and say things that you can put your foot in your mouth on. So with that being said, be mindful of everything that come out your mouth when you sit up on that panel, because it's for the public to hear also. With that being said, all minds and hearts are clear. That's my report now. Let's see.
Thanks, Councilman Mack, Councilman Jordan.
Good evening, thank you everybody for coming out and, being a part of, our meetings. Mrs. King, thank you for the opportunity as well as the council, to sit on the review committee. That was great. Yeah, and I think that's what it's all about, and, just having the opportunity to be more engaged in, what's going on here in the community. To, Mr. Novak's point, guys, hopefully we can take a look at, revisiting the pool and those hours. You know, he is absolutely correct. I mean, I know it could be a budgetary, issue, but if we can get more hours, for that pool, I think that we could benefit from it. And I actually like the idea that he presented, in terms of, maybe seeing if we can get some buy-in from the residents or the household, to have it. He's right. I get up early too. It's a great form of exercise. Even I know that our seniors were enjoying it on Wednesdays for, wade in the water, our socials. I would like for us to please, take a look at increasing those hours for the pool. That's the one essential that we do have here in town right now that provides us with, some recreational activities, and, let's take a closer look at that, please. I'd like to say a big congratulations to the town and CRA, for collaborating and moving forward in the TDT process, as well as Dr. Phillips. One thing that I am a fan of is I want to see progress in our community. All right, we deserve it, and we deserve things to be done on a upscale level. I concur with Councilman Matt. Hopefully, again, as we reviewing this budget, that we're able to, put in, funding to get us a, event planner coordinator. We have to put more effort and energies into, our events that we do in the community. Personally, they all look alike, right? We deserve that. But I know we gotta put in more effort and energy. I'm here, I can help if I can help, but someone else was here and talking about, you get what you pay for. We got money, we not. You understand? You get what you pay for, and we deserve it. So I think we gotta start thinking on a different level when it comes to making our community and our citizens proud. Y'all know me, I'm a very proud resident of Eatonville, right? And I want more. And thank you, Manny, for coming out. I appreciate the administration and the effort, that you guys have put into preparing the budget. Yeah, we have some differences of opinion, about the preparation, But what I can say, what I do like, is I can see that we're trying to do things in a different way, and we're trying to bring this, town up to the 21st century. You understand? So, yeah, it's some changes, some things will remain the same, but we gotta be open, we got to change. That's the only way we're gonna move forward, that's the only way we're gonna progress. We have to be open to change. No, I wasn't up here before in the past, and I thank Councilman Mack again, because you did save my little life up here today. With having you gotta break it down, line by line. I was able to be more engaged in that process, so thank you so much, for that. And, CFP board, appreciate it. I was an alternative on it a few years, an alternate, on that CAB board, a few years back, as a resident. So I look forward to, going back and participating on that. They have some very valuable resources that I know that we can use here in this town. So again, thank you everybody for engaging with us here at the, Historic Town Eatonville Town Council.
Thank you, Councilwoman Jordan. Back to your time.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being patient with us. Yes, I do agree with the former mayor. We get up here, we talk, we run our mouth, we talk about things that's really not important. We need to be voting. If you have those major concerns, or if you have that wellness problem, I think he said, in one of those things where if you need some, counseling, you can, they pay for it. So let's be respectful of our residents, of our council, of our members up here. Yeah, I know you like to talk, but sometimes it's good to be quiet and listen instead of always running your mouth. That's the end of my report.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Thomas. That's all over the place, y'all bear with me. Kudos and congratulations to the scholarship recipients. I know we started out with a very low number, so I'm glad that as we got closer to the deadline, we got more participation there. Really exciting thing, transitioning from public school at home or private school at home and off to college, whether that is local or away. So congratulations to them. And good luck on the upcoming school year. Welcome back to our Hungerford Hawks, as well as our own educator here on this council. I'm very hopeful that y'all have a very productive year. St. Lawrence just celebrated a long little town. They actually celebrated a higher anniversary. We know that they predated the incorporation of the town, so they just celebrated 145 years. I was privileged to go to one of their events this weekend at the church, where they had a couple of their artifacts on display. Very cool presentation done by our very own Councilwoman Randolph. We know exactly how proud she is to be a member of that congregation. So big shout out to St. Lawrence AME Church and their 145 years of existence. Yes, years. The Historic Marker Task Force, you guys did get the plan and scope of work from our deputy clerk. And again, thank you to Marissa for the work that she's done behind the scenes with National Park Services and bringing some love and attention to our historic markers. They are historic because they carry historic information, not because they look like it. So being able to put some dollars and some energy into those is going to be really, really cool. If I'm not mistaken, that's a CRA project about 10 to 12 years ago. So it's going to be really nice to see what that looks like when it comes to life. I do want to bring your attention to page 3 and 4 of the document that she gave you. You will see some membership and eligibility notes in there that we want the council to take close attention to. You will see Councilwoman Randolph's name in there. There have been some modifications since this document was created. And so where you see Councilwoman Randolph, it will actually be the council that will be those deciding authorities there. So where you see Councilwoman Randolph, she will be included, of course, but so will you. Also where you see records coordinator, it should say deputy clerk. So just a couple of modifications there for you, but please take a look at this. We have kind of backburnered this a little bit, only so we can get through the budget. We want to prioritize, but please take a look at this and call Marissa with your questions and concerns, because this is something that NPS wants to get off the ground immediately. And so we would love to get those conversations started in September, if at all possible. Any questions, any concerns, please take it to Marissa. The TDT project, again, piggybacking off of Councilwoman Jordan, congratulations to Dr. Phillips Charities, as well as to the one I'm most excited about, no shade, but I'm very excited to see the collaboration between the town of Eatonville and the Tobra. And I'm like, it has been a long time coming. Oh, okay, well, it's been a long time coming. And, we know that our CRA has been in existence for some time, and there has been this huge desire for continuity and seamless activities across the town. So for, those, bodies to come together for, and again, no shade, Dr. Phillips, for what seemed to be the best project on the table. I think was really cool to watch. I watched all 40 hours of their discussions. I even sit on the Tourist Development Council along with Mayor Demmings and Mayor Bud Dyer, and was able to hear some of those recommendations come before that council today. I'm very excited to see what happens at the Board of County Commissioners when they get ready to vote on those projects, and very hopeful. Let's get on down. The budget preparation feedback. Again, I told y'all that the first workshop, that we're open to that, so don't wait up. You know, we're not scared to take them on the chin. I think we all know the status of the town. I think we've all been here long enough. If you haven't sat up here during the budget, then you sat down. You need to sit out there during the budget. I've been a part of that gallery at one point or another. And so, some of the feedback that we're getting is good to hear. Very much like Councilwoman said, we do want to go in a more efficient and more effective manner. And sometimes, even when we want to do that, it requires additional communication on administration side. So myself and Mr. Daniels, we'll take that into consideration to make sure that not only are we more efficient and effective, but that it's accessible and that it's legible, that residents have access to it, that the accommodations that we have here in the council meeting can be user-friendly, to make sure that feedback is welcome from residents, business owners, and stakeholders. So don't let up. That's what we're here for. We are elected to do the heavy lifting. Let's get these reps in. I'm gonna piggyback off of Councilman Matt. Former Mayor Grant got up and said, you get what you pay for. And it's absolutely right. I have sat in these halls, and I do love the staff that we have, and I see the energy and the efforts that they put forward. I know that our salaries are not the most competitive. I know they're not the most comparable, but I also know that we're dealing with one of the highest millage rates in the county, and we're also dealing with one of the lowest budgets in the county also. So in getting creative and thinking of ways to bring in more revenue, some of the things, that we have to think about, are those values. And that leads me into the conversation, another piggyback off, Councilman Mack, about that special event coordinator that I brought to you guys. Again, we do know that those events seem to copy and paste, they seem to look alike. We do know what the communication looks like in the neighborhoods. It's not always social media, it's not always the water bill. Sometimes it is door to door, and sometimes it is the lobby of the library, or the lobby of town hall, or the barber shop, or the chamber of commerce, where we see these things. But we will take all those opportunities into consideration, when making sure that we disseminate that information to the residents, the robocalls, all of the above. We'll take advantage of all those avenues to make sure that we're touching as many residents as we can, and that we're informing as many residents as we can. Budget, one last comment, and then I am done. I know that, I'm not here to give you any additional excuses. I think the reality is, we know why we are where we are with budget. We know what the trend has been with the town as far as prepping the budget, discussing the budget, workshopping the budget, approving the budget over the last few years. There's not very much that's different this year. We also know about the impacts of legislative session, which again, I'll just reiterate what I told you in the first workshop, that we're taking that feedback into account, and we're prepping for next year right now. We know exactly how you want it to look. We know exactly how soon you want to talk about it. We know what our intentions are as far as administration, and those are things that we intend to implement, and we ask that you hold us accountable to. So when I say I want a 6-month turnaround, then I wanna have something in front of you in 6 months, so you know where we are. We're not waiting until May, June, July to start talking about it. You have something in front of you where you can pull up the 307 and have to speak with Mr. Daniels and say, hey, I saw this in the budget actuals that y'all gave, or Ms. Gibson, or whoever will come in behind her and say, can you explain this to me? Can you make this make sense? Can we go to these specific line items and get a breakdown of what that looks like? So this feedback is imperative for, moving forward. Additionally, it's been said on a number of occasions that the budget has been presented as balanced, and it has, because that's where you start. And as we sit here and we have these discussions about wanting to raise council salary or wanting to decrease money that we're spending over here, or shopping insurance, or checking out new contracts, those numbers will fluctuate. But before we can do anything, we'll have to approve it. So we can't approve an unbalanced budget. So as we go through, just be mindful that where we want to see increases, we might get them and we might not. As you've been familiar in the past, the department heads have come forward with wish lists. And they have not always been fully approved. There are things that Ms. King has had on her wish list for about 3 years. I went back 2 years and saw the same council setup that she has in this year's budget in 2 budgets ago. So not everything gets approved. Sometimes we have to play with the numbers, and God for the firm that is helping us out just to try to figure out how we can make those things happen. And again, I know we probably didn't think it was important, but those retreats kind of help us gear our minds towards those buckets of money that we're looking for to offset some of these expenses. So if recreation is important to you, then we know we need to be going after recreation grant dollars. If salary is important to you, then we know we need to offset an expense somewhere else. So those things are important, and they do affect the budget. And I don't want you to think that the legislative objectives that you're responsible for don't have an effect on that, because they do. We want to make sure that those things that we want to see as legislators are brought to life. I can sit here and tell you the difference between legislative and administrative all day. Y'all know I'm always down and open to talk and take your feedback, but I do encourage you to take a high level look at some of these things. And again, go and see the department heads, go and see Mr. Daniels, tell him what your concerns are, so that those things can be taken into consideration on a staff level and incorporated in the documents that you see when you come here, so that when we have these conversations, Mr. Daniels has some guidance and myself have some guidance on what exactly it is that we want to see. So that feedback, again, is just imperative. That looks like all the scribble scrabble that I have on here tonight. There should be some results out from the election. I know as soon as I leave, I'm not getting on with that tonight. As soon as I leave, I'm gonna be looking. And congratulations to those in those respective elections and races and their wins. I look forward to working with some of those individuals going forward. And as Councilman Mack always say, holding their feet to the fire when it comes to representing the town of Eatonville. With that, that is my report, Madam Clerk.
Just want to remind you, our next budget workshop is August the 25th at 5:30, and it will be at Town Hall
Right.
next Tuesday.
All right, that being said, it is now 9:37 and I move for adjournment. It's been moved, is there a second? It's been moved to second, all in favor of adjournment? Please, aye. All right. It's 9:38.